This segment of DelmarvaLife is brought to you by Chesapeake Eye Center.
We all know that the most important rule of the road is to drive safely, and there are, of course, a number of ways to do this. Go the speed limit, wear a seatbelt, etc. And it goes without saying that your vision plays a huge role. And so Chesapeake Eye Center is constantly making sure that patients' vision meets the requirements for being on the road. If not, they have to lay down restrictions and sometimes take licenses away. I sat down with Dr. Jennifer Sim to find out how it all works. Dr. Jennifer Sim has her sights set on safety. And so, as an ophthalmologist with Chesapeake Eye Center, that means sometimes she needs to lay down rules and restrictions when it comes to the road.
A lot of the times where we have to talk about restrictions in terms of driving is if patients have really severe glaucoma or macular degeneration and a history or a recent stroke of the brain.
She says here in the Old Line State, the numbers are specific.
In Maryland, in order to drive without any restrictions at all on your license, your best corrected vision should be 20/40 in both eyes and have about 110 degrees field, like a visual field.
They use the Esterman visual field test to measure the latter.
It's a pretty long test, and it's not easy. What you do is, it's almost kind of like a fishbowl. You kind of put your face in there, and you look straight ahead. Different lights kind of shine at different areas that measure your field, and then also how strong the lights are can change as well too. But you look straight ahead, and every time you see a light, you just kind of push the button. And so then it maps out areas that you're not seeing light.
That's a test they use when it comes to glaucoma, which is damage to the nerve. Macular degeneration is when the central vision is missing.
It can be either dry macular degeneration or wet macular degeneration, and where you are in that spectrum determines your vision and how much of that central vision you have left.
She says the restrictions depend on the situation.
It's either you're restricted to only drive in the daytime, or if you're driving in the daytime, you might need special mirrors on your car, that type of thing. But there are times when we do need to take, the driver license away because they have not enough vision or they don't have enough visual field left.
And that's a conversation that's never easy.
It never feels good when you're taking independence away from someone. So it's a hard conversation to have with them.
Dr. Sim says more often than not, it's a conversation she's having with older folks.
I think that's one of the hardest parts about it, is because they've lived their whole entire lives having that independence, and then because of certain things we have to get rid of it. And then especially if they're retired or something like that, they say, oh, but I don't have anyone else here that can help me, that type of thing.
Even though it's not easy, for safety reasons, she says it's worth it. And sometimes she even has patients come back and say so too.
Some patients do, afterwards, they're like, we're happy that you just kind of told us the way that it is, instead of kind of sugarcoating it. And because you're right, it is important that I'm safe and the people around me are safe and that my family members are safe and all of that stuff.
And safety is something on which all of us can see eye to eye. And Dr. Sim says any restrictions they do lay down will be printed on your driver's license.